Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Grow with Glow. I'm going to do a quick recap on what we discussed at Kent Bazemore's house. Kent had played for the Lakers, he had played for the Golden State Warriors, and went on a hot streak of winning when he was playing for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, based on those teams, that means his teammate was Al Horford, who's one of his best friends, and is about to win the Celtics championship as we speak. Also, he played with LeBron James and Anthony Davis when he was with the LA Lakers. And of course, at Golden State, he was playing with Steph Curry. Perhaps the center of that conversation maybe revolved around him playing against Kobe Bryant and having the assignment and the defensive prowess to be assigned Kobe as a man-to-man matchup. So really cool, very humbling conversation if you heard it. What I want to do is break down some things that I think are takeaways for you and things you can apply in your life, whether it's business or sports. And if you have children who play sports, then definitely lean into this conversation, because what I'm going to do is break down what Kent shared and then put it through the lens of how I interpreted it. Now, I teach chiropractors and doctors all over the world, and I would tell you oftentimes what my consulting fees consist of is me interpreting available information, me interpreting content so that they can make it usable and consumable. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do for you in this particular episode. Make this information consumable. I want it to be used in your life and to better for listening after this audio. And if I can better your life from listening to this, I would have you know that the credit belongs to Kent Bazemore, who's become a good friend and just a really sweetheart of a guy who kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. And some of what he said, if it didn't get your attention on first pass, I want to double click on some things, kind of pull you back to it. Because one of the things we talked about was the fact that the NBA had ranked the 500 players in the league and given them a ranking number after his rookie season. Now, I'm not sure if this was the NBA or Sports Illustrated, but they had ranked him, and it was posted publicly. And Kent Bazemore, after his rookie season, where he came out of Old Dominion, a small basketball school, mid-Atlantic school, not a big powerhouse, he actually won the award for the best defensive player in all of Division I college basketball. So he had earned his national spotlight from his defensive play, but because he was at a small school, again, not really given props within the NBA. After his rookie season, certainly wasn't given credit, and they ranked him at 499 of 500. So for those of you listening, if you play sports, you're in business, you're on a down streak, you're stuck in a rut, the difference between a rut and your grave is about 3 feet. Meaning, if you stay in a rut too long, it could kill you, kill your career, kill your momentum, kill your starting position, maybe kill your playing time. So what I want to point out is Kent didn't go home, suck his thumb, and pout about being 499. What he did, and the verb I want to share with you, is he weaponized it. That's right. He weaponized 499. The diss, the lack of respect, the lack of credibility that he was shown, he took it, he harnessed it, and it made him better. What he also did is he put 499 on his Under Armour sneakers, and he's also got some sneaker lines that he shares with Steph Curry through Under Armour, and he had them personalize 499 on his shoes. Now, they're a great company. He loves what they do. You can't say enough good things about them. And the fact that they personalized 499, no questions asked. What it was to Kent, and what I'm going to suggest for you, is it was an anchor. Every time he ties his shoes, he saw 499. Meaning, not only did the skeptics count him out, but get a load of this, the experts did too. The experts counted Kent out. They said he was 499. And you should never rely on other people's approval for your happiness. Happiness is an inside job. So Kent smartly put that on his shoe. And every time he sees 499, he has it on T-shirts, 499, headbands. He reminds himself the experts and the critics said I wasn't good enough. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take what could be anger. I'm going to take what could be disapproval. I'm going to take what could be frustration, negative words, and I'm going to harness it, and I'm going to turn it into something positive. It's going to be my extra juice. Again, the verb is weaponized. He weaponized this negative outcome, and he turned it into extra fuel to push him to greater heights. He played in the NBA for over 10 years. Based on that 499 ranking, they didn't even think he'd make a roster the next season. They thought he'd be a one and done as a rookie. And Kent knew that so smartly, intelligently, and with the brilliance that he has as a cerebral player. He said, no, I'm going to use that to my advantage. Thanks for the raw materials, and I'm going to change what the label is. And I want that for you too, because oftentimes people will give you the raw materials. And how you shape it up in your mind dictates whether it falls on the positive side of the line or the negative side. And basically, your experience and how you label it is what this is all about. Having that positive attitude is super important for success, because confidence comes first, then success follows. Too many people want it the other way around. And I see this with kids in sports. I coach lacrosse. They want success first. They want to ping a corner. They want to have a goal. And then they'll feel good, and then they'll start playing confidently. I said, it doesn't work that way. Confidence first, success follows. Do the reps, do the work. Ken put in extra time, overtime in the gym, because 499 was his driving force. And every time he felt like he didn't have the energy, didn't have the mojo, didn't have to get up and go, he just had to say 499. And as he put his 499 shoes on, that was his reminder, hey, somebody's out there snickering, counting me out. One of these quote-unquote experts, jackasses, one of these experts said he wasn't good enough. And he fueled it, and he played for over a decade and was largely regarded as a three-point shooter because he was a dead eye outside the arc, and also still held his defensive prowess. And in his own terms, he protected the rim, meaning he got on the floor and he wasn't afraid to use a foul, but he was going to be a defensive player. Didn't need a lot of looks on offense, very unselfish, very unassuming, and yet was what we would call a clubhouse guy. I love the dude. He's awesome. Point number 2 is that he talked about gratitude and having perspective. And where this kind of came from, I think in the interview that we did, was he talked about being from a small town, not a lot going on, one traffic light, and just saying, from this, I rose to the NBA. From this, I got a great shot to play at Old Dominion, which was a big school for him. And at the time, everybody else said, well, that was a small basketball school, not really taken seriously. And in each instance, he maximized, I would say, his opportunities. Can you do that? Can you maximize your opportunities? Is a bad attitude getting in the way? If you spill a cup of coffee in the morning and it's a bad 5 minutes of cleaning things up, you're going to let it destroy the next 12 hours of the day? Or can you let it go? Can you compartmentalize and put those things aside and focus on the big things? Because too many people go thick on the thin things. They go thick on the topics that just don't matter. You got to go thick on the real things and let the thin things just roll off. And to me, this is something that Kent does really well. He talks about going back to his roots. He gives on a consistent basis. And what he's been doing more recently was he was playing pickup hoops with the high school team. He would go to the local gym and organize pickup games. And just as recently as last week, at the time of this recording, he dragged Steph Curry to a local gym and played pickup hoops when there was 4 or 5 kids on the other team that were still in high school. Just cool stuff, because it's about the gratitude. It's about the grind. He enjoyed the process. He loved the long road up. And then even when he ended his NBA career, Kent went and played in the G League. Not because he was looking to go back to the NBA, but because he wanted to keep playing. It wasn't a demotion. It was just a lateral shift. Perspective. Perspective's big. Where you are today is probably something you dreamed about 5 years ago. Welcome to Grow with Glow, the show where we explore ways to stay healthy naturally and grow your influence. Today's episode is brought to you by Element, the clean salt electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. There's no sugar, just the essentials for optimal hydration. Whether you're an athlete, busy professional, or just someone who wants to stay hydrated, Element is designed for you. So what sets Element apart? Well, it's the science-backed formulation. You see, Element is created by experts who understand the importance of electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium in maintaining proper hydration and supporting overall health. These electrolytes are crucial for muscle function, energy, and anything that makes Element stand out is its commitment to real, clean ingredients. You won't find any artificial sweeteners or flavors in here. Element is keto-friendly, paleo-friendly, and suitable for a variety of dietary preferences. And here's the best part. For our listeners, Element has a special offer. Your first purchase through the website and the link below in the show notes will get you an offer where a complimentary package is sent with the purchase of your first item. So again, use the link in the show notes, and when you make a purchase, you will get a complimentary pack at no extra fee. You're going to enjoy it, and again, it's paleo and keto friendly, keeping you hydrated. Where you are today is probably something you couldn't imagine a decade ago if you've been at this a while. So have some gratitude. But if you really want to wind the clock back, go back in time, look at the perspective of where you first started. I mean, I remember my first lacrosse practice. The depth of the pocket of the stick makes it easier to keep the ball in it. For boys lacrosse, men's lacrosse, you can have a much bigger pocket. My daughter, Georgia, who just won a national championship in the NCAA tournament, playing for the University of Tampa, she plays women's lacrosse. They have a really shallow pocket. I went to my first lacrosse practice pretty much with a women's lacrosse stick. It was like a tennis racket. While everybody else had deep pockets, I didn't know why I couldn't catch and throw. I didn't know why this is so challenging to me as a new athlete. Frustrating. I go back to that first practice. I felt out of place. I think I had the gloves on the wrong hands. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like putting your shoes on the wrong feet. Like I might as well have done that wrong too. Like it just felt like everything was wrong. Couldn't see very well out of my helmet, probably because I was looking out my ear hole after getting hit. You know, just a fiasco. But be willing to suck at something. Because if you can handle sucking long enough, it doesn't last long. You get on the other side of it, then you become good. And if you can anchor to a 499, weaponize those other past experiences, you're going to get to the other side. And if you can remember back to where you started, then you'll have total gratitude. And that is the process that makes people great. Also looking at this from the perspective of, what do I need to do for longevity? And a lot of times it's teaching. It's giving back to the game. It's going back and helping out other people who are struggling, looking out their ear hole, shoes on the wrong feet, right-handed glove on the left hand, left-handed glove on the right hand, whatever. You know, the point is like being so new and so fresh and being bad at something, I think could be really good. It can humble you. And Kent never lost that humbleness. So let me show you how you can use this in your personal life. If I'm not coaching and on the sidelines and I'm just being a dad, I film my kids all the time, almost every possession when they have the ball on their stick. I just can't help it. I pull a phone out and I'm filming. I could be talking to someone, all of a sudden my hand just goes to my phone, pulls it out, hits record, and I'm recording. But here's what I do maybe differently than other parents. When the game's over, I send my kids video clips. And if I catch it on the field, I send them immediately. But here's what's different. I don't send them highlights. I send them the plays where they sucked. I'll heart the highlights, keep it in my phone so I can catch them later. But I immediately send the clips where they messed up, they made a mistake. Because when you get something wrong, I think there's an opportunity to learn. Sometimes you get lucky and you score a goal and there's nothing to learn there. But in the mistake, in the moments that they didn't do well, in the moments they didn't shine, that's immediately on their phone. And on the car ride home, if they're willing to discuss it and they're not too upset, then we go through it. I break down game film. Now, it's a primitive way. It's a short clip. It's 30 seconds. It's off my phone. It isn't perfect, but the lessons are. So what I do as a parent, and maybe you take the page out of my book, maybe you're a coach, I send them the bad videos first. Hey, buddy, you know I love you, right? I always preface it, pre-frame it. That's a communication goal, right? Then number 2, get permission. You cool if I show you some videos? They're not good. Yeah, Dad. Okay. So preface it, pre-frame it, get their permission to show you the bad ones, and then I show them and I talk it through. See what you did here? This is why the stick got knocked out of your hand. See what you did here? This is why you got knocked on your ass, right? I show them all of that. If they're willing to go through the negative clips, I'll reward them with the positive clips because they do score goals and they are great athletes and they're great lacrosse players. But they have to be willing to learn first, and I'll reward them second. Too many times we see what we call daddy ball, right? And we have parents who just want their kids to play and be a starter, and it doesn't really matter to me. Did you learn the lesson? Are you having fun? Cool. If this isn't fun, let's not do it, right? I want it to be fun. But if we're out here, I know success is more inclined to be fun than a lack of success. So let's learn. Then the next time we play, you're going to have more fun because you'll be more successful. We aren't going to get more successful watching the highlight clips of maybe some things you got lucky. Let me show you the mistakes, learn the lesson, apply it to the future experience, and then you get better, just like Kent Bazemore. So this is how you could be a better parent and also a coach if you're doing that. And to me, I send them the bad clips first. Then we'll go over the highlight clips. And the last thing I heard from Kent that I found super profound, and I wanted to double click on it, was rest versus relaxation. And I truly learned this from Kent. I'd never heard it described this way. But what do I know? Because he's a pro athlete, a guy that stuck around for a decade in probably the most athletic league in sports. I'm going to say the NBA has some of the most athletic people. And size matters, right? Everybody's big in that league. So Kent would be considered a small guy at 6'5". I don't know how that works, but it just does. And so one of the things that he talked about was the difference between rest and relaxation. You can relax on a flight between cities. He could relax between games and series in the playoffs a little bit. When he gets on the golf course as a lefty golfer and a lefty shooter, he relaxes. But rest is different. Rest is completely turning off, switching off, getting away from the phone, the computer, the electronics, getting away from the things that drain you. And one of my favorite paradoxes in life, and something I teach to chiropractors, is you have to unplug to recharge. And quite often, that's what you need. Those of you listening, you need to unplug. Now, my kids are athletic and they have fun, but always when they were growing up, if they were in the off season, didn't mean we couldn't go catch a surf down at the beach, put the board in the water at sunset and have a nice chat in the water and surf a little bit. Didn't mean we couldn't go play wiffle ball, run the bases. Maybe we play a little 3-on-3 flag football. I would always get them doing something else. So we might take a rest from lacrosse, but just go and play. And then things I would do in the summer with older kids, college lacrosse players, is host something called Bagataway. Bagataway is the Native American term for what we call lacrosse. It's their sport. It's the medicine game. And the truth is we would do a version twice a week of Bagataway where kids would go out and try new things, have fun. It was serious and that they wore pads, they hit, they threw checks, but the spirit of how we played was different. It wasn't competitive in the sense that winner takes all, and it wasn't that you win at all costs, which sometimes I see in college athletics or even sometimes in some hyped up club teams. Success at all costs means you're being robbed in another department. And unfortunately, we even see this with coaches sometimes. Their behavior is like out of control. They're a mentor for a child. You shouldn't be teaching them that's okay. So composure, poise, but also getting out there competing and then having fun. And the spirit of what we would do with Bagataway was you would learn from your opponent. So if the defenseman took the ball away from you and went the other way, what did I do wrong? Was I dragging my stick? Did I not protect my stick? It'd be like playing friendly pickup hoops. If somebody blocks your shot, you go, what'd I do? They go, dude, it was so telegraphed when it was coming. Somebody picks off a pass and goes the other way. They go, did you always do this with your body before you throw a pass? You're telegraphing it. It's easy. They would learn from each other. So same idea here, rest and relaxation. What makes it fun? What gets it back to basics? And Kent was a master of doing this, where you just have this ability to just rest. Zero gravity, zero sensory input. There's baths now that you can go to where there's like no sensation. You just float. No noise, no sound. We talked about at a future podcast coming up, we're going to drop a sound bath. Talk about the benefits of the acoustics of that. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Some people like massages, that's kinesthetic. We have a drummer in a rock band, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame interview we're going to drop soon. And his thing was sound baths. Well, he's a drummer in a band and he loves sound baths. Makes sense. So maybe for you, it's something else. But find the thing that really helps you rest, really helps you unplug so you get fully recharged. And then you could take 100% of your energy into whatever it is that you do. Look, Kent Bazemore was my teacher that day. Yes, I interviewed him, and there's a lot of things I like about him. But it was also a surprise to me, a few things that he said that just kind of caught me off guard because I'm continually learning lessons. He gives me credit for learning from me. The truth is he's a brilliant guy, really smart, took care of his body, maximized his potential, which any athlete listening, potential is an empty word. If you run a business and you have a lot of potential, it's an empty word. It's up to you to fill it. Kent filled his potential. I want you to fill yours. That's why we do these Grow with Glow podcasts. If it helps you out, drop a comment, click the up thumb, And give us a thumbs up for this. If you would recommend us to someone, we'd appreciate it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. And most of all, I guess if you left a positive comment, that would go a million miles. Hey, I'll keep doing it if you keep loving it. Cheers. Grow with Glow.